Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Very glad that, to have all of you here in support of the APEC Women Leadership Forum of 2014 in Beijing this year. But before I introduce whom Mrs. Kim does not need too much of introduction. I'm sure everyone knows she is the spokesperson of MCM, which is a brand that she acquired recently. But I just want to thank MCM Holding for being one of our most supportive supporting partner in this event, and the KGN team, APEC team, and the host committee, as well as CCPIT. We are very grateful for that. Now, before I introduce Mrs. Kim in her business endeavor, I would like to point out that Mrs. Kim was actually selected as one of the global leaders of tomorrow by Davos World Economic Forum in 1997. And in 2012, she was listed in Forbes' top 50 Asian businesswomen and also Asia's 25 hottest CEO by Fortune, which I'm sure you all will agree with me on this. Yes? And she's very, very lovely in her red jacket this afternoon. Now, Mrs. Kim is the chairperson of Sung-Joo Group, which was founded in 1990, which has earned the reputation as Korea's most foremost fashion industry leader, and which has to date launched the most prominent European luxury brands, including Gucci, Yves Saint Laurent, Marks & Spencer in Korea. And then in 2005, Sung-Joo Group acquired MCM, which was founded in Munich in 1976, the top German luxury fashion brand, which I'm sure in the event I've seen a couple of our delegates are already carrying that bag. And so without further ado, I would like to pass the time to Mrs. Kim to share with us her endeavor thus far. And by the way, I just want to let the audience know we're going to have a very engaging two-way dialogue later after this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First, very privileged to be here and also really honored to be invited and or support such amazing APEC Women's Forum initiative. And also we also congratulate Paul Lee and also all the team done an amazing job in a short period of time. Because I'm a member of APEC, yes, Business Advice Council. From Korea, I'm one of the first women business person to be elected. So I must be supportive for this forum then.
That's right, thank you very much.
And also, you must be very tired in the afternoon, after lunch, a little bit sleepy. So let's have fun. That's what I want to say. Because I'm not here because anything I'm better than you. I'm just one among you and went through similar life journey and or similar business person and some other areas. So I just want to brief about my business. Probably most of you know about me, so I wouldn't repeat too much. But also I want to open up Q&A. Yes. As much as you want to speak, comment, or question, I will do my honest best from my heart to answer back to you. Okay? Yes. Is it okay? All right.
Thank you very much. So, Mrs. Kim, before we open the discussion to the floor, can you share with us your stories on from Sung-Joo Group to the acquisition of MCM?
Okay. Well, I wouldn't go into my life story yet, but actually
yes.
Sungjoo Group obviously came after my name, Sung-Joo Kim.
Yes.
Sungjoo, it means, in Chinese character, Sung is like a, I don't know in Chinese letter, but it's holy or sacred. Joo means pearl, like my cross.
Yes, right,
So holy pearl, that's actually a Christian name given from my mother, which is quite a heavy name, I must say. But so it's rather unusual to have your group name after your first name in Korea, especially.
Oh, yes.
So that was the first thing. And Sungjoo Group, we already described that after my brief work in New York as assistant chairman of a Bloomingdale's in planning department. And I learned fashion retailing. Right. So when I returned Korea early 90s, that was very much similar to the current China. Right. Just all the luxury brands just landing, and they were looking for a partner. So they select me some reason. So that's why I was the first franchise for Gucci, Sonia Rykiel, Yves Saint Laurent, from Botte to Rigoche. In fact, it's my older Yves Saint Laurent jacket from, and also Marks and Spencer, which is a different animal, different retailer, and also MCM that also as a licensee and also importer before I acquired the brand.
I see. Well,
so
they selected the right partner to work with.
So 1990, that's how I started. So obviously, I was the first boutique owner everywhere, from the luxury hotel to the luxury shopping mall. So it was really fun. So it's just bringing like a new luxury, let's say, industry what is about. Because Korea was very exporting driven, which is current China is. But what is a brand power about? This complete marketing and merchandising, different way of a customer relations. And this is kind of different value add as, let's say, intangible asset building.
Right.
So it's quite different. But anyway, it was fun. So I grew quite well, the business. But unfortunately, in 1997, you all remember, I faced Asian financial crisis.
Yes.
I lost everything overnight. So more than $30 million gone, and my company about to verge to bankruptcy. But luckily, Gucci Group, because I built at that time already 5th largest Gucci in the world. After Gucci Italy, Gucci America, Gucci Japan, Gucci Singapore, look after all the Southeast Asia. That tiny Korea, South Korea, I built 5th largest Gucci because we also had a very strong duty-free market. That time, all the Japanese coming mainly for shopping purpose. These days, a lot of also Chinese coming for shopping purpose to Korea too. So I could sell Gucci back to Gucci Group, so I got about $27 million back probably that time. 1997, that was a lot of money, and I risked my company. Then, you know, what should I do? So I restarted my company from zero again. So I told my team that, don't get despair. Why don't you restart and look the bright future? I said, well, one day we may acquire MCM. Nobody believed that, because we just came out of the bankruptcy situation. But eventually, we bought the company in 2005 as a first case in Korea. Not only even Samsung Group, LG could not do it, but me, small company owner, as a women owner, I dared to challenge global business. So I bought German headquarters. It means all global business. And of course, I went through a lot of amazing and challenging experiences dealing with a different culture, different, also distant management, and also all different kinds of, let's say, the problems I faced. But we successfully restructured, and now we are already in the 32 countries. And well, I feel this year probably do about more than $650 million business. And in China, yes, actually, I'm really glad to say a lot very fashionable people, including men and women, and also young generation, or young-hearted people like us, carrying a lot of MCM bags. I really feel grateful because this is probably the first case in human history, not only an Asian company bought and women bought and run by herself in global scale, competing with the biggest giants like a Gucci Group, LVMH Group, Swatch Group, Richmond Group, you probably know. Not easy job, but we are doing so. We are winning it. And this year, for instance, in Korean duty-free, which is a more than $7 billion market, one of the biggest, bigger than Paris and London or Dubai, Hong Kong. Why? Because Korea is a situation between China and Japan and Russia and Southeast Asia. A lot of people coming, buying from our duty-free because I think of the price differences. We became big three. It means LV, Cartier, now MCM. We are bigger than Chanel. Can you imagine? Thank you.
Oh, that's something to celebrate with. Well, thank you. Thank you for that. Now, another amazing achievement to add on to Mrs. Kim's sleeve is that she was also appointed as the co-chair of the Presidential Campaign Committee for President Madam Park Geun-hye, who became the first woman president in Korean history. Mrs. Kim later on also became, as she shared, the first APEC Business Advisory Council member in representing the Korean business community in APEC in 2013, which she did bring with her a large group of Korean business delegation who are among our midst. And so now, Mrs. Kim, could you share a little bit with that during your time for the campaign to the audience?
Well, before talking about this amazing presidential campaign I happen to be involved in, but let me start my life story. Also, a lot of my friends, they know by heart how I've been through. Because all the success, it was not easy. I think one thing I just want to share with you was I was not really success-driven. I even don't feel I am successful because it was not my aim. I was not really money-driven. I was very mission-driven. Because, you know, even coming from one of the richest family, in fact, my father has one of, now he passed away, but he built one of the biggest energy groups. So like all the city gas, like Seoul City Gas and some provincial city gas plants, and also oil, gas, and you know, coal mining overseas in Korea, and auto parts, and many other businesses he has. So one of, let's say, semi-conglomerate in Korea, not like as big as a Samsung, but as domestic corporation is one of the largest. But the key is he's a very traditional man. So he had 6 children, so 3 boys and 3 girls. I'm the youngest among 6. Okay. And his father always expected that these 3 boys supposed to inherit his business, not daughters. So what daughters supposed to do? We just moderately educated and get married into another power family. This is tradition, it's a Confucius tradition in Korea. So when I say, hey, you know, women, even girls are smarter than boys a lot of time. Why should we be just caught up in very stereotypy, being pretty and, you know, pretty and sexy and attract nice men from super rich family and getting into another super rich kind of lifestyle? Very boring. So I decided to go in my own way, which made my parents very mad. So when I was studying in America briefly, and I was dating non-Korean, because I'm too tall to match with the average Korean man, by the way. And second, I was too liberal-minded. And my parents got really started anxious, this girl is going to run away. So they were already arranging some engagement in a ceremony with another big family through the matchmaker. I said, oh my God, my basic human right got exploited. So I decided to go ahead with my own marriage. So I select very innocent-looking, kind man, British Canadians. Both we were studying at the same university at that time. Hey, this boy, let's get married. This morning we talked about, women can have an or? I think I had one that time. Just I spot that innocent boy, get married. So next day I called my parents that I fixed my marriage. Don't worry about your engagement ceremony. They were speechless, of course. And they completely pulled my name out of the family tree. Then it was the end. So about 5 years, I had no $1 came to my family. And I had to pull myself out of school because I had no money to continue. And third, that's why I was some ways voluntarily forced myself coming out of those cute little pretty girl out of a big power family, being very poor, no money at hands, and married a very humble man again at that time. And therefore, I was started working in New York at Bloomingdale's as a starting, kind of trainee.
Right.
Really very, very basic job. But luckily, I joined the chairman's office even as a trainee. Wow, that's why I learned planning and strategy and all these amazing training I got. And that was those 5 years, I must say, it was tough because I brought out like a little princess, but suddenly thrown on the street and penniless. and lived a very, very humble way. But that was an amazing training ground. I would recommend any of your daughters or yourself, and my daughter, I'm trying to do the same thing, but really it is important. So then that really made me true entrepreneurship.
Right.
I cultivated myself. So I felt after overcoming all these difficult challenges, even I got ill and all these challenges I faced, but anywhere I go, I'm not afraid of anymore. So when I returned Korea in 1990, I started my own company. Obviously, I didn't have money. Even my father still refused seeing me, but there's one funny story happened. And because my father had one of the biggest auto parts business, and one of the biggest also auto parts business in America, they want to set up joint venture with my father through me.
I see.
So I introduced. So, and father never thought young girl can arrange such a big joint venture.
Right.
Which I did. And then father was really embarrassed. So first time he invited me to come to his office, or first time in my life. And then he said, well, I never thought a young girl can do handling such a high business. And secondly, I feel I owe a lot. Because this business obviously will come to him and my brother, not benefiting me.
Right.
So what can I do for you? So I said, great chance. I said, father, I'm not interested anyway. You're not going to invite me coming into your business. So why don't I lend? I didn't say give me money. Lend me $300,000 to be the capital of my own company. That became the capital for my current company. Wow. And I returned that money back to my father with an interest on it, fat interest. So I don't own anything from him. So, but it's, when I started my own business, it was not easy. As you know, Korea, as somebody have experience dealing with a Korean businessman, very different world. I envy actually China more because you're more open for women. But most of business deals done through geisha parties, heavy drinking parties, bribing, they have a tax cheating, big boys club going on, and all through there's a home friends or hometown friends or school friends. Very hard to penetrate this big boys network. Yeah. So what should I do? That time already I had my first baby born, very little money at hands, no networking. And, but meanwhile, so I said, well, this corrupted retailing industry, what should I do about? Because without paying any bribe, you cannot go any further step. Sure. But then I said, well, instead of crying out, being a woman, being a mother, this challenge, am I going to complain about men? No. Why don't I just start my own brain to maximize women's strengths?
Right.
So that became my first mission. How can I prove women's strengths can win over male chauvinistic environment? Right. Which I did. Some ways, we are more multitasking, we are more detail-oriented, we are more a consumer, because we are end consumer, so why should you worry about other things? So I just try to utilize all the women's strengths instead of looking at what I don't have. So what I have, maximize it. Second mission became, how can I prove that honest hand, you can be winning this very corrupted society we won. How did I do? I think we are one of the very early adapters of IT. That time we applied the IBM 400.
Right.
And then, now it's SAP. So we were really much more fast and accurate and more consumer-oriented, and that's how the way we are winning. And third mission now, which I'm carrying on, is as a small, medium company like we have, how can you win over the big global giants in global scale? Because it's not easy.
Sort of like the David versus Goliath.
Yeah, but we are winning. So it's been really amazing journey. But I must tell you that, yes, it cost a lot. One, obviously, I could not spend much time with my daughter, and also a health issue, of course. And also third, still, very hard to select good, capable, well-trained women, actually, human resources in Korea. But now, willing to train them. So now I have a quite good, because probably about 90% of our company, all the team are becoming women. So now men start to complain about that, why we are discriminating. It's not. But anyway, we have absolute women colleagues, but also we have some good male colleagues here today too, from
which
China
I see.
team.
Yes, sure. Good-looking chap.
And so for me, these three missions, just women can do it. Second is honest can win. Third is a small medium company can be more competitive in this new era because of SNS or all these digital kind of equipments we can utilize. And so I thought that's what I want to prove. So, that's my life journey.
Well, Thank you very much. It's very, comprehensive, a lot of achievement and a lot of stories, all compacted in a very brief time. Thank you for that. Now, I read recently that you wrote in a blog up on Huffington Post. You also have a foundation. It's called the Sungjoo Foundation. And I read that from that blog, it was actually inspired by your mom. Before we go on to the Q&A, do you mind sharing with us a bit of that?
Well, as I said, my business is more mission-driven. So through delivering this mission, not only through the business, but actually I come from a strong Christian background. And my mother, she was a wife of a big tycoon. One thing she taught us is that everything what we have, privilege, position, wealth, and whatever, power and whatever, and all given from heaven, from God, not ours. So therefore, we have to utilize it and maximize it, must return back to society. That really deeply implemented me. So I made policy that not only we make business honest and fair way to be a good example for the future generation, but also how can I share? So about 10% of our net profit always going back to society through Sung-Joo Foundation.
Which so you have worked in North Korea, South Korea, China too.
Everywhere. Actually, we've been helping more than 80 different NGOs around the world.
Wow.
So primarily, we are really focused a lot women's leadership training because there are so many women, especially coming from underprivileged background, from education, leadership training, or also global kind of training. This is so important. And also another focus is now North Korea. Because as you know, Korea is divided north and south. Now I feel it's not because we are anything better than them. It's just the ideology divided by some reason. And therefore, my generation, we feel deeply owed that we have to look after our brothers and sisters in North Korea, apart from all these political ideological matter, but the innocent people living there. So we've been doing a lot educational, medical, and also food aid for young children and things like that.
I see. Wow, wow, inspiring. Now, I'm sure there's lots of you who have got some questions for Mrs. Kim. So I'd like to open the floor now for the Q&A. And yes, anyone in the crowd?
Over there in the back, yes.
Yes. Can we have a microphone over there?
It's so warm. Men can take their jacket off. They're so warm.
Yeah, I know.
You can do it too. Actually, it's very warm, so men, you can take your jacket off. Ladies, if you're not taking more things off, I don't mind.
I can see that Mrs. Kim is spotting the sweat that's dripping off me with the spotlights.
Thank you very much. Hi, Sung-Joo. It's wonderful to see you again. And for the last 6-7 years, I guess I've known you. I've heard you speak many times, and you never fail to inspire. Every single time you speak. This morning we had a topic about whether women can have it all. And you seem to be one of those that have it all. You're beautiful, you're successful, you seem to be happy. If I were to ask you, maybe not fair, just to quickly summarize, what are the 3 key ingredients you think in your life that made you who you are today? And if you can share with the rest of us today, thank you.
Wow, that's a very tough question. In fact, the first session was truly inspiring. All of 4 ladies made an amazing, very correct, very different aspect, but they're all true to us. For me, whether we can have it all, for me, I think it's different value system. Some people are probably striving for gold and diamonds and Mercedes-Benz or whatever, like a physical, earthly, materialistic achievement that thinks we are achieving it all. No. I mean, that's one thing. Another people, they would really go for very high intellectual, whatever. That's another thing. And some people would go for very spiritual. Like, I think one person in that panel talked about motherhoodship. I think for me it's very spiritual because it's more giving than obtaining, more sharing than keeping it for yourself. So I think I more belong to third group, unfortunately. So,
Which
today,
earlier term, when we were preparing for this, you mentioned beautiful capitalism.
Yeah. Actually, what I thought was,
can you tell us more about
because I was actually few conferences like World Economic Forum or Financial Times, forum and things like that. We all talking about European financial crisis. current capitalism really failing, and even fast-growing economy like Korea, even China, the disparities between rich and poor, that could really arouse a lot of unnecessary internal kind of riots and explosion, because they see it through the internet and through the TV. Hi, that guy is a billionaire. Why should I live this under poverty?
Right.
So how can we curb that if we don't just healing and cure this matter in early advance? It will be serious, actually, really a social problem. I can see that. I mean, Korea went through, still we are facing. So how can we do that? So somebody got to correct it. But going back to even European crisis, why it happened? Because all these smart kids went through the Harvard Business School, Oxford, and Cambridge, name it. And now, actually, unfortunately, women grow their kids that way, and that only go for their selfish success. And then, unfortunately, they just forgotten what to share.
Right.
And became so greedy, they eventually destroyed this world. So smart kid destroyed this world.
Right.
So where does how this women's leaders can come in for that? For me, women's leadership is not following men's, not replacing, not fighting against. We have to be very complementary. We got to be something very different. For me, it is more, we should be more healing, more embracing, more inclusive, and more sharing. Therefore, I think current capitalism, I would say crony capitalism. That's how the Asian financial crisis Korea faced.
Right.
European economy faced.
Right.
How can you make it beautiful capitalism? I think women's leadership only can do it. That's my aim. I think we all should do it together for that.
Yes.
So going back to your question, 3 ingredients, hard to say, but for me, I don't know, just very positive thinking, because that's my mom's, mom taught me again. When my daughter, she was 8 months old, I was out for dinner, business dinner, and she was in emergency room. I rushed there, and she was nearly dying because she had a very bad burn accident by hot water. And so that moment, I really knelt down in the hospital floor, prayed to God, take my life, not hers. That's only women can pray for that. But luckily, she survived back. But that moment, my mom came, because I was crying. She said, don't cry. I said, what she means? But she said, well, your daughter did not hurt her eyeballs, her neck, and her hands, which is the most critical part. I'm sure God will survive her back. Yes. She did. So I learned how to be positive in the worst critical moment. Positive way of thinking. Second is a tenacity. Tenacity. Obviously, when you carry mission, not easy road. Any life cannot be easy, but when you have very good noble cause, higher calling, you can be tenacious because you have such a hope in front of you. It's like a laser beam. Yes. You know, you can penetrate all these obstacles. And third, how can I sustain all those? Because faith in God. Right. That's one thing I have to confess to you, because I don't really say Christians anything better. But one thing, secret I have to share with you is, you know, without prayer, I cannot start one day. Without prayer, I cannot end one day. Because for me, all these, because I feel we are all born as a certain person with a strength and weakness, but we all carry very precious mission in our life. It's not only how to fulfill ourselves, but how to benefit the society we belong to. That when you carry that kind of mission, whole scope of outlook about life, about business becomes so different, so beautiful. I know many of actually my friends in this room, I know they have it. We're all excited to see, whenever we meet one another, even we don't see each other, we're all busy, but we carry that mission together, always meet somewhere together, we realize together.
Right. So it's a good and healthy spiritual life, or is the secret to good looking and young looking? Good
looking is not. In fact, I must confess, I had a special makeup today. Normally, I don't look like this. When you come to my office, dirty jeans, dirty shirts, and old jacket, nearly no makeup. I'm working like a boot camp, really. Today, just I made up. Okay, another question.
Yes, another question.
Yep. Over there, in the back. Yeah, at the back, there's one lady. Yeah.
I'm very honored to have opportunity to hear your story, impressive story today. Thank you. Sophie Jin from Korea and work as a lawyer. The topic of your saying today about women's new role models. As we have known here, there are a lot of successful and impressive and respected wonderful women in all over the world like you. But back to our topic, I'd like to hear your opinions about Asia women's leadership. You have met many successful women, global women leadership in Western and Asia. If there are difference leadership between Western and Asia women leaders, what is it? And what is more needed points, what you asked, Asia women leaders to be more global leaders beyond Asia? Thank you very much.
Wow, it's quite long, and can you briefly
Yes, so briefly, I think what she's asking is the difference between Asian women leaders and the sort of more Western women leaders, and how Asian women leaders like yourself are going global in a sense. Am I right?
Yes, right.
Yes. That's great. Thank you. Very good question. I think, first of all, yes, I brought up in Korea until college. I graduated and I transferred to America as a junior. At that time, I didn't have much English, and it was more than just the language, but it was cultural shock.
Right.
So I could see way of thinking is so different. So in Asia, especially in Korea, I was always like a subdued, and like in front of seniors, you cannot speak out.
Right.
In front of men, you're supposed not to, you don't express your opinions.
Right.
That's the way I was treated or educated. But there, if you don't speak out, there's no mark, no grade in class. Yeah. It was really hard for me fighting with my inner self, which is already very much structured, to be very subdued woman, to be very expressive, outgoing, proactive woman. So I think I could see, even this morning at those 4 ladies in the, when they have all, you could see a lady from America, from Italy, and also from Asia, quite different way of looking at it, but both are very good. It means that I think Western culture, what I learned is I think Western culture obviously more brought up by a Christian kind of philosophy or Christian faith. Therefore, really each person has a right to pursue. So it's a more individualistic way of looking at everything. What do I achieve? Why, even Sandberg said, don't keep quiet. You speak, you fight for it, achieve it. Man is not going to give it you for free, which is true. Yeah, but Asian women, because we are educated to be always inclusive, part of family, and motherhood should going first. But that has another very different quality.
Right.
So I think having both is idea.
Right, right.
So I think the difference is healthy, and we should having both. So that's why global education is so important. And second question was how the Asian women
leaders can go global.
For me, just recently I was actually at Salzburg, Austria, just a few days ago, attended another conference called the Trilogue Salzburg. It is how to converge. Everything in the future is a conversion.
Yes.
Like art and music and politics, economics, business all comes together, as you know, especially through the digital era. And everybody talking about innovation, everybody talking about new entrepreneurship, how we can make a more prosperous economy, especially Europe. I was only 1 or 2 out of 30 top leaders that forum, and they're all afraid of Asia. I say, hey, you guys, don't think that way. Why Europe, America, Asia, or separate, or Africa? We are the same human being. Western civilization obviously advanced more in many ways. Asia started to be booming because now 1.5 billion population market, China started with all Southeast Asia, this new market. Therefore, there's an ever-growing emerging needs are there. And also great economic and the production base here and market base here. But we have so much still things to learn from West. So I think there are so many complement things to do, a lot of intangible assets from branding, marketing, designing, very creative way of thinking. I think, Western civilization is uncopyable. We still need to learn.
Of course.
Because I'm in branding industry, I know what it means. But Asia, because of economy scale or the production, because of cheap labor force, and a lot of things happening here, that's true. So market shifted. So suddenly it seems like Asia became very strong, which is good to be. But this is only probably breeding spot for whole global economy survive. So instead of looking at one of the, oh, what are they doing, what they, it's like a lose-lose game or zero-sum game. It's not. It should be a win-win game. How we can complement. So I suggest that, look, instead of worrying, open up the market, let these young generations come to Asia, learn culture, learn language, or let's shift our kids over to Europe to learn from them and recognize they are truly the same global citizenship.
I see.
So I told them, look, what is the future? It's not Asia and Europe, America. It is truly global economy. What is 21st century economy about? Actually, I just want to exemplify summarize one article I read in Economist, which is a British economic journal, a few years ago, made a very interesting article about characterizing future upcoming generation. We call it millennial generation. You probably heard. Well, Generation Y.
Yes.
What are they about? This is very interesting. Now, after reading that one, I understood my daughter, our relationship. Before that, my daughter was saying, Mom, you are so ignorant. She's 24 years old, by the way. I am ignorant, comparing with that generation. 5 things I want to say. One, the first one is a concept of family is so different. Why? But we are just only biological parents. Now, their real family living in virtual reality. Through the Facebook and Twitter, we call the TGIF generation. You know what TGIF stands for? Now, thank God it's Friday. It's a Twitter, Google, Instagram, and Facebook. That's their future. So their hobby group are there, right? Your children are the same. Second concept, because of that, concept of home is different. We live in the same roof, but unfortunately, their home is somewhere else. So true global nomad, everywhere they go, they should feel at home. This is actually, any guys who do consumer goods or service industry, this is something interesting to think about. How can you make any consumer feel at home wherever they go?
Right.
Third characteristic is also interesting. Therefore, concept of education completely different. I remember my daughter was so lazy in her high school in London. Why you don't study? She said, Mom, only cool kids don't study. That's what she said. What do you mean? She said, well, this is different era, Mom. That's true. Our educational system should change. No degree system necessary in future. I think until 10 years old, we just need to have humanity courses, art, music, good and bad, whatever. Just basic human kind of humanity course we can teach. After that is all skill set. Because future knowledge is navigating information through Google and everything. You don't need to memorize anymore. And they will calculate everything for you. One just push the button, they will do everything.
Yes.
That's future. And fourth, therefore, the concept of work different. For us, it's 9 to 6, and they're sitting in the office, the same, room. It's not. For them, it's a cloud and mobile office and part-time and whatever. Their concept of work is a play. And play is work too. This is a future environment. And fifth, another very interesting also characteristic they say is now self-identity is completely different from ours. They have a multiple self-identities. Why? Because of avatar. Each kid probably has 3, I don't know, I don't have exact statistics, but I had minimum 2, 3 to even 20 different avatars they are playing with online. It means that they don't know which is real.
Yes.
I remember there's one very funny avatar person I read in the article in newspaper. He's a Korean avatar, got some competition, but his avatar is one of the most gorgeous, tall, sexy-looking bikini kind of lady he's playing with, but he was one of the fattest boy, not even girl. So he's a part of his identity is that lady. That's multiple identities they are living in. That's future millennia. So what I'm trying to say is, don't try to repeat the same mistake male leadership went through. They've done their job. They did a great job. They still have a lot of strengths they carry. We need them. We should love them. But women should come at different leadership. What would it be? Based on our strengths, and also we should really look at more complementary, and also also focus more on our soft power, whatever discipline you do. But more important thing is, as I mentioned, we really need to heal this society. We need to really share this society to really cure the agonies and pain our society is really facing. That's the only women the leaders can make, from crony capitalism to be beautiful capitalism.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, I think we've got time for 2 more questions. So can I see a raise of hand over there?
Thank you, Ms. Kim, for your wonderful speech. It's really inspiring, especially for a young girl like me. I came to hear what women leaders should be on the look up to these women leaders here over here. So my question is, actually you shared with us very interesting your lifetime experience as you are a kid, when you are a girl. And I would think that actually it's because of the conflict in the education or the heritage. Because you were brought up in a traditional Korean family, but at a later stage educated in US in a very liberal kind of education system. This conflict also, as well as how your dad treats me, put you to, you have to be independent at that stage. Would you consider this conflict actually contribute to your success? And also, I know you have a kid, you have a daughter, you love her very much, you mentioned her several times, and say that when you are raising your daughter, would you want to cultivate her or empowering her to be a woman leader? And how would you do so? Also, if you are raising a boy, not a girl, or if you are raising both, boys and girls, would you treat them differently? Because in China nowadays, a lot of people will think that they should be treated differently, because for girls, they would like to kind of, like say, more like giving them more security. Well, for boys, it's more like giving them harsh time. Just let them go through this thing. What do you think about it? Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
A very good question. Let me just answer very shortly. In terms of traditional family background and also very Western education, I think it was very, as I said, healthy. And now, even you don't have to go out of the country to do so. Now, online education is possible. All the information, if you are smart, you can go into University of Phoenix for the online skills education. Even MIT have an open education system. You can access anywhere. So it's a matter of, for me, it's not just Western, East, or tradition, or whatever. I just want to say, first of all, value your tradition. Should not throw it away. Of course, I rebel against. But at that time, because it was really tapping into my human right issue.
Right.
I could not choose my spouse with my own right? That's only one thing I rebel against. But rest, I think, as an Asian, as a European, as an African, I think we all has our beautiful root, which when you want to be truly global, I think you should be truly your own too.
Yes.
It's not imitation.
Well
okay? Because just one funny example, a lot of the young kids these days, they change their hair color to be blonde. And also, of course, in Korea also, we are famous for a lot of cosmetic surgery to be westernized. But when market moves, now you notice that the Western brand, they're using a lot Asian model. Now, afraid maybe 10 years time, all the Western lady like to make their hair too black and to make more blown eyes instead of deep eyes. No, I'm just joking. What I'm saying is that everyone has their own beauty, their own tradition. We have to treasure, but in global context. That's what I want to say. And second is also we have to learn how to go beyond our boundary. That's one thing. So often when we talk of feminism, whatever, we set boundary as like a male chauvinist boundary. But for me, I think we should go beyond. Because we have I don't say far superior, but far spiritual and different soft power we possess. That's one thing we have to cultivate. But going back to your second question to how to educate my daughter, I mean, I think I would fairly say my daughter educated me. She's the most severest critics against me. When she says something, criticizes, it just makes me angry. Wow, how dare. But I think, wow, she's right, because she said, Mom, everybody praise you. I'm only one can tell you the truth, put you down as a human being. I really appreciate. So now, I don't think I educated, she educated me. However, I don't want to limit her to be like me. because she has her own strength. She's 100 times smarter than me. She's a very literature girl. She's educated in England. And her English is impeccable. So whenever I'm in front of her, I'm just already out in her debate. But you know, what I want to say is just how can just provide right enough environment, let her run around, especially when you deal with the very strong character girls. I'm sure you have many girls, like my daughter. Better to have a bigger boundary, not to limit her. Like training a wild horse. Right? If you caught up in small cage, they would go crazy.
Yes.
But when you make a big playground, they exhaust them their own way and come back to their own feet. That's the way. So just for me, only
new
thing...
mothers to be, that's a secret.
Only thing I'm praying for her is, because her name is Jihe. Jihe means wisdom. It's coming from Old Testament in Bible. Because my mom told me, most precious things to gain in life is not gold, money, fame, power. Most precious thing is wisdom of life. So that's what the Proverbs in the Old Testament taught me. That's why I gave this precious name to my daughter too. So that's the only thing I'm praying to her. What is wisdom about? Fearing of God. And have a spiritual discerning eyes, good and bad. But also recognize our being to very preciously created to carry God's mission. So how we can fulfill our mission and also help others, sharing with others. That's only I pray for, nothing else. Rest, she will be responsible.
Very wise. True wise words. Now my team has already raised up the time's up notice. But since I said 2 questions, I'll keep to my promise. So can we just have one very short last question here? And then we'll end the day.
Hi, Mrs. King. I'm Hillary, and currently I'm studying luxury and lifestyle management in Florence, Italy. So I have a question about your brand, MCM, because I really like this brand, and it's definitely a great luxury brand. It satisfies 3 great elements. It has a strong artistic content and a great craftsmanship, and also it has a widely international recognition. So, but there is a paradox of the luxury industry. Like, if a brand can be called luxury, it should be exclusive. But it seems like with the worldly spread of globalization, it is inevitable of the loss of luxury brand turning to be more commercial. I mean, from the family business to be a big commercial company like Prada and Louis Vuitton. So maybe it can help a brand to making more money and becoming famous, but also it loses the value. I mean, it depreciates the value of the brand. So my question is like, how do you deal with this problem? Like, how to keep balance between keeping your brand a great level in customers' mind, but also to become to make your company becoming more profitable? Thank you.
Well, it's a good business question.
Yes.
Maybe we should hire her. No, well, actually, very good question. Just very simple.
Yes.
In fact, there's a luxury. There's 2 schools. One is the older school luxury, which is mostly represented all these big names. Now, MCM, we try to be a new school luxury leader. It means that older school used to define is bought by a very rich family because who can afford to pay high. And second, also, as you say, very exclusive. And third, therefore, very classical because especially Europeans, most of mature ladies, they buy classic because after all their children brought up and willing to pay for themselves. So like a Gucci, which is an older classical luxury I used to carry, I know their characteristics very well. But I know when they go IPO, they try to commercial drive and become a little bit diluted. And also many other brands are like that. But as a new school luxury, first of all, we just want to define our consumer, not just a rich family, this new lifestyle, 21st century global nomad. How can we assist like all professional ladies and men like us in day-to-day life, but good quality, but with a function and fun.
Yes.
And second, therefore, our actually average consumer is very young. And third, that they are really more well-informed online. Therefore, when they come to our store, they want to enjoy. So we start to provide more playground environment, more fun. And the fourth, And that the balance between really profitability and also keeping the exclusivity. I think it's not just a quantity or price matter. Actually, MCM is quite elastic. We have quite high price ticket, but also we try to make quite good, comfortable price too. But my aim is really, fashion should not be just only dressing people look pretty and showing their status symbol. I think we should serve each human being, feel very comfortable. So one thing, as you can see, I wear like a sneaker, and also I wear a lot backpack. Actually, I'm known for backpack because I want to liberate consumer. It's not being sexy and luxury is not just only the aim. Because also Professor Wu this morning mentioned we should be human being first. Yes. I really want to make them feel comfortable in what they are and confident, empower them. So that's why actually MCM became something very different, luxury to be the new luxury. So I don't know whether I answered your question, but what I want to say is I think the fine balance between commercialism is that just chasing after shareholders better return their investment, or shall we really pursuing different spirit, really care for our consumer, educating our consumer to be more confident being than instead of being the victim of expensive goods. That's my aim. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, time is up, and unfortunately, like all good things has to come to an end, so I would like to conclude this session, and thank you very much, Mrs. Kim.
Thank you very much.
Let's give us a round of applause.
Okay.